This podcast is brought to you by Connect First Credit Union. Today, we've got a really interesting conversation planned, and it's a little bit about understanding. It's a little bit about, insight. It's a little bit about how we can go a level beyond just what information looks like. And this has been a really important conversation for us at Connect First over the past many months as we start reimagining what a credit union can look like for the 2020s. It's not just about understanding Alberta on a surface level. It's not just about understanding our members superficially. It's actually starting to really understand them in a much, much deeper way if we're truly going to create the experiences they're looking for in the decade ahead. Quite frankly, when we think about us at Connect First and how we're going to be different than the big banks, the big banks are great organizations, but they're making big, broad stroke decisions that are kind of good for everyone and maybe not perfectly good for anyone. We knew we had to approach problems very, very differently. We knew insight would be power. And if we were going to really truly get to that level of insight, we needed to partner ourselves with a different kind of organization that was going to just scratch way beyond the surface and really dig deep into what's possible. So here, I'm very, very, very pleased to introduce you to the president, founder, owner of Illumina Research, Yvonne Brouwers, who is just this incredible human being that I just met serendipitously well over a decade ago. But beyond that, when I started my journey with Connect First, reached out to me and said, look, there's got to be ways we can look at solving the problems you're trying to solve a little bit differently. And all I can say is she has truly delivered. So Yvonne, welcome to our show here on What's Next Alberta. Please say a few things about yourself. Tell the world who you are.
Well, thank you. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. Just a little bit about me. Well, maybe you can see in the background is a little picture from Alberta. I'm actually from Alberta, born and raised, lived my whole life in Alberta. My mom actually was from Taber, Alberta. My dad was an immigrant from Holland, and they were actually entrepreneurs in Alberta. They had a construction company. And I actually grew up in a household with, my parents talking business and talking about how they were going to take things to the next level. And so that's a little bit about me. I wound up getting an MBA at the University of Calgary. And I actually worked for the Calgary practice of Environics Research Group, a very respected research organization, for 15 years. And just at that moment, we actually met on a plane. And that actually was the starting point of Illumina Research Partners. Meeting you on a plane sealed the deal for me.
Wow. Now, to be clear,
there's more story there. Yeah. But do you remember that?
I do.
Remember that, Wellington?
Very well.
It was like the fall of 2009. And I was literally sitting on a plane. I think we were both coming back from Toronto. And I was really heavy on my mind. I had an opportunity to take the clients, the team members, and the intellectual property from the Calgary practice of Environics Research Group and start a new organization. And it was really weighing heavy on my mind. And beside me on this plane is this individual that who I had never met before, but I had an immediate sense, this is somebody that I can trust. This is somebody I need to talk to. And through that conversation, we talked for 3.5 hours. And in that conversation, you inspired me, you gave me confidence, you listened to what my aspirations were. And when I got off that plane, I decided, yes, Illumina Research Partners will be born, and I've never looked back.
Okay, well, I'm blushing now, but I
it was awesome. Thank you.
No, thank you, Yvonne. But you did it, and it's always scary when you're stepping out on your own, when you're building something anew, and like you did. Like, share with us some of the stories of what those first few years were like.
So Illumina started launched at the end of 2009. And that was towards the tail end of the financial crisis. It was not exactly a good time to start a business. However, we just plunged in and did it anyways. And I think that one of the things that's really made a difference to our success over the years, and here we are in Alberta, and regardless of the ups and downs happening in Alberta, what we did is that we were able to develop a new way of undertaking market research, a way that actually allows businesses to be able to innovate, to grow, and to succeed. We created this innovation and this way in Alberta, but we've been selling it everywhere, mostly in Canada, to organizations. So that's the way that I look at it. This is a base for innovation, and we can sell what we do here anywhere.
And when we talk about like the future of Alberta and the importance of diversifying the economy and so on, knowledge-based industries are going to be so important to that. And
Oh, yeah.
and you were you were very early on that journey. Like
Yes.
2009
Yes.
was oil and gas was still the most representative
Oh,
part
yeah,
of
it
our
was.
economy. Yeah.
Soon was booming until 2014, but yes.
Yeah. But you've managed to grow throughout this period. And so how about things like
Yes.
talent and finding the right people for your business? Are they here in Alberta?
Finding talent, keeping talent. I think and we all know that's one of the biggest challenges that there is. And in fact, it's interesting to know that everybody in Illuminate is actually from Alberta, and living here, born here, and so forth. So we've got a pretty amazing team, and they've actually come from Alberta. So maybe we've been lucky, or maybe we're doing something pretty interesting, and folks want to be a part of it.
Well, and I also know people like working for great leaders, and Yvonne, you are definitely one of those. And you're inspiring, and you had a vision for something different. So tell us a little more about how does Lumina approach problems differently than perhaps other companies in your industry?
There's a problem in market research. Like if I said to you, market research is going to change the course of Connect First Credit Union or any business, what would you say? Most would say, I'm not really sure about that, because market research doesn't really change much, does it? Market research actually has two big hairballs. Big hairball one is a problem called DRIP, data rich, insights poor. And we've all seen it. The big, thick market research
Yes.
reports, pages and pages and pages and pages and pages. That's called data rich, insights poor. You got all this descriptive data, but what the heck does it all mean? Who knows? The second problem that market research has, or the second big hairball, is low stakeholder engagement on the inside. Because you do market research project, say you uncover these amazing insights about your customers that could change the world, change the course of your business. What happens? Well, we all know this too. People on the inside are going, was that important? Do I need to pay attention to that? I'm busy over here doing something
Right.
else. So what I'm talking about right here has been my passion really for the last 28 years. And it's like, how do you solve the problem of drip? How do you solve the problem of low engagement so that you can take those amazing insights about your customers and use them to innovate and change the course of a business and the course of a whole economy if you can get enough businesses doing the same thing?
So I've witnessed it in the last several months as we've done some work together, really the difference that Illumina brings. But tell our audience a little bit about what is the difference between just having some data and true insights? Like, what does it feel like? What does it look like when you really have an insight?
The insights that matter, that can fuel innovation and change and growth, are truly understanding what your customers are trying to accomplish. In the innovation world, you've probably heard this terminology, it's their jobs to be done. In plain language, it's like, what are they actually trying to accomplish? That's thing one. Thing two is, what are their pain points? What are their frustrations? What really bugs them? And thing three is, what are their aspirations? What are they trying to achieve? If you know those three things deeply about your customers, they are like Lego building blocks, and you can build all kinds of things. Those are the building blocks of innovation. And you haven't asked me this yet, but many people will say, well, hold on. Customers can't tell me what to do. They don't even know. I tried to do research with customers and they couldn't give me any good ideas whatsoever. No, that's not it. What you need from customers is what they're trying to accomplish, their pain points and their aspirations. You take those building blocks away, and with those building blocks, create the offerings, the products, the services, the new markets, the new businesses that customers want and need. And that's the role of insight in building growth and success.
And I love that. Now, there is an expression that I've heard that you've used, which is ice cream questions. What's an ice cream question?
Well, I didn't invent this,
Okay.
An ice cream question. I didn't invent the terminology, but it's a really important concept. So I'm going to ask you a question, Wellington.
Okay.
Would you like an ice cream?
I'd love ice cream.
Of course you'd love an ice cream. What rational person is going to say they do not want an ice cream?
Right on.
Yes, I want an ice cream and I want more. Thank you. The problem with ice cream questions is that they don't get at what really matters to customers. Of course you want an ice cream, but they don't get at what really matters. And they don't uncover what is it that you're trying to accomplish. What are the pain points? What are my aspirations? They don't uncover those building blocks that you need to be able to successfully innovate. And what happens with a lot of market research, or even when folks go out themselves and they say, I'm going to talk to my customers. That's it. I'm finally going to do it. I'm going to talk to the customer. They ask ice cream questions and they don't get back the ingredients they need to be able to build success from there. So there's lots of things that you need to do. I'll tell you one thing that works much, much better than ice cream questions. It's called, tell me a story. Tell me about a time when ... this happened or that happened that you were just thrilled with ... you were just frustrated with ... And you take those customer stories and you can pull out the threads of those three key insights that you need. That's the ice cream question, and what you need to do instead.
So one of the things you've done is you've built a business that has a reputation nationally, and you're building relationships with all these incredible, like world-class companies across this country and beyond. And a lot of people are wondering, can we do that in Alberta? Like, other people are thinking about starting businesses, and are they going to be successful in competing with the best? Very important industry and energy. These are important companies that we're all wishing for their success in this province, but we know we have to diversify. We know we have to do more. You've done it. You've gone out there. You've sold the knowledge your business builds. And can you share some of your stories? How did you get there? How did you get on the docket to meet with some of the executives that opened the door and heard you out? And how did you convince them that your company here in Calgary was the one they should be dealing with, as opposed to the one in Toronto or Montreal or Paris or wherever?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And when you were asking the question, there was a word in there that is fundamental. And you said the word relationships. You know what? People work with people that they trust. If your aspiration is to, make a real difference in the world or make a real difference to business, there has to be that relationship. I think that's been key to your success. Anyway, so I think that the thing one is building relationships. How do you build relationships? You have to be pursuing an area that you actually care about, that you're passionate about, that you genuinely want to be making a difference in. And what we've done, first of all, we had the opportunity of actually having some amazing clients when we started Illumina. They all stayed with us and they are all still with us. One of the ones that I feel the most proud of is Petro-Canada and Suncor. So Petro-Canada has been a client since 1993, and every single innovation that they've developed over the last 28 years has been through the work that we've done together. So it's part of it. The answer here is it's about keeping the customers that you have. And how do you do that? You have to continually wow them every single time. We have 5 values. Our 5th value is progress. Somebody said to me once, you could value progress isn't a value. Yes, it is. You have to continually be making things better, better, better to be able to continue to keep clients over the long run. And to be able to attract clients, I'll tell you what we do. We do very little. We hardly have a website. We have all these amazing clients. Well, how do we do this? Well, we just start thinking that, you know what, you're our client. And we're going to start treating you like our client right now, even before you are a client. I really listen to what people, potential clients, what is important to them, what they're trying to achieve. And then I start giving them information and sharing insights and doing things to help them to achieve success. That's actually how we've done it.
That's awesome.
They're our client before they're really our client.
They just don't know yet.
I'll say to somebody, I'm sorry, I already think you're our client.
That's so funny and so true. So we look ahead at the next decade in Alberta, and one of the reasons for this show is we're really trying to change the conversation. There's so much, for lack of a better word, there's so many reasons to be down in Alberta right now.
Yeah.
And we think there's a bright future in this province.
Great.
There's a reason to be optimistic about the decade ahead. Now, you're out there every day, you're talking to your customers, you're talking to Albertans, you're talking to Canadians. Are you optimistic about Alberta's future? What do you see in the next decade?
I'm not in the business of making predictions, so I won't make a prediction. But I am optimistic about Illumina, and I am optimistic about Alberta and the businesses in Alberta. If we can all rally around, I believe 3 things. Thing one is the need for change. It's so easy to just say, this is the way it is, this is the way it's been, this is the way we will continue, because it is so hard to change. Number one, we have to make a commitment to change. We have to change. In Alberta, every business owner, we all have to change. Innovation is essential or we won't survive. That is thing number one. Thing number 2 is really about understanding customers. I'm a bit of a geek and I'm constantly reading and looking and talking to people and learning. And it is well known now that understanding customers is the key to business success. So that's kind of thing 2, get to know those customers truly. And then thing 3 is actually taking action, right? Because you can be open to change and you can understand your customers, but if you're not willing to take action, it's hard to take action. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of energy, but the action is the key. And boy, if we could do those 3 things, each individual business, and en masse businesses, wow, the future is amazing for Alberta. And we have the people, we have the resources, it's all here to be able to accomplish that.
My last question for you, and it's one question we do ask every guest because we're looking for your
Ah,
guidance, your advice for us, because we do believe in a bright future in this
yeah,
province. And Connect
yeah, you
First,
do.
we want to reinvent ourselves so that we can really step up to the
Yes.
plate and be there for Albertans, for our members when they need us. Any advice for us on what we need to be doing differently?
I have honestly been really impressed with Connect First. I never say anything unless it's exactly, I get myself into trouble sometimes just saying exactly what I think, but I have been really impressed, and I'll tell you why. I think there's three things. You're innovating. Here we are in Alberta, and you're rethinking the whole category, what you do. That is awesome. You have to have a process for innovation. So it's about innovation, right? There needs to be a process because innovation, as you know, is super complicated, messy, challenging. There has to be a process. I've actually spent the last 5 years learning the various processes and seeing what companies are doing. And I don't know if this is of interest to you, but I could send some resources on where people can get information on what is the process for effective innovation, because innovation has been democratized. You do not need to go and spend the big bucks with some massive consulting firm to be able to do innovation today. It has been democratized. There are books, there are podcasts, there are information that will give you that process. That's thing one. Thing two, and I know you're doing that at Connect First. So putting the customer at the center of innovation, that's how you started this podcast. And I've been really impressed because you have truly put the customer at the center. And that doesn't mean doing some research and quickly reviewing the results. People are spending like a lot of time truly, deeply understanding the customer so you can develop your services and your future business around those needs. The third and final thing that I think is essential for innovation is about engaging and involving your people in the whole process to take action. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges because innovation is hard. And as we talked about, people don't want to change. And
Yeah,
because none of us want to change.
yeah,
Hello, we don't want to change. I'm
so true.
comfortable right now. But involving folks in the process makes all the difference because what people are involved in, first, they contribute amazing ideas. And second, then it's part of their thing too. I think that's the third critical piece of innovation and success.
Yvonne, you are an amazing guest. Are there any other thoughts, final words that you want to share with our audience?
I have to say, I really appreciate being able to talk about this. This is an absolute passion, and I think it is absolutely awesome that you're actually inviting people to talk about their experiences and to talk about the future of Alberta and how we can make it something amazing. And so I really appreciate being able to talk about it. Thank you, Wellington.
Thank you, Yvonne. Next steps. So Yvonne Brouwers, just an amazing guest, somebody you would just like to talk to anytime. And it's just serendipitous that I got to meet her on an aircraft, 12, 13 years ago, where we did get to talk for a few hours. And just like then, just like now, she's got so many interesting things to say. A couple things that really stood out for me today was innovation's critical. When you're leading a business, when you're running your business, when you're building your business, you need to be thinking beyond just asking your customers, your members, in our case, what they want, what they need. You need to understand their problems so that you can work to solve them. And it's certainly something we want to be doing more of at Connect First, and we will be as we launch our new brand into the marketplace. You need to know your customer. We need to know our members. And certainly it's something we're passionate about, and we're going to be spending a lot more time with our members in the future and having conversations with them. As Yvonne said very, very well, just listening to our members, will put us in a position we can do better for them. And one thing I think she said that really just inspired me is, here in Alberta, we have everything we need for the future. It's all here, right in front of us. We just have to take it and seize the opportunity. So with that, if you like what you heard here today, share it with your network and be sure to subscribe. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on What's Next Alberta.